Welcome back. You've just submitted your ART with just the pre-read, and I realize that your download Google version is different than this PDF form that I created for you, but it's close enough. So let me show you how you could have pre-read this. So first thing is that somewhere on this form you need to make sure you have the title of what it is, because this is a useful tool to use for your reading material as long as you keep yourself organized. In this case, it's the section Crimes Against Public Administration, page 28 in the Vocabulary Supplemental Readings D book that you use for our class. There's some places here where you can actually put the headings, the questions that come from headings, and I've done that. For example, what are the crimes against public administration? What is bribery? What is obstruction of justice? What is official misconduct? What is perjury? These all came from either the heading or the bold-faced word, and I got these from the preview and predict. One fell swoop asking questions by turning the headings or bold-faced words into questions. This then brings up my prior knowledge. Well, what do I already know? I know what bribery is. I don't need to write it down. I know that perjury means lying in court, and I think that maybe public administration refers to government employees. Maybe I'm wrong on that. So when you access your prior knowledge, sometimes you're not sure if your knowledge is accurate, but go ahead and access it. So now I have a question. Not sure if I'm right about public administration referring to government employees. So now I have a true question. Since this didn't come from a heading, I am adding it to this section right here. I have another question. What are the qualities that make it a crime against the public administration? And how is official misconduct different from regular misconduct? So I have some questions, and all I did was read those few words, a couple of terms, and a heading to get all of this. Now I have a purpose. More than just my instructor, my criminal justice instructor told me to read this. I really would like to be better educated about these types of crimes so I can discuss things intelligently and understand the news better. Now I have a real reason, besides someone made me do it. I have a real reason to read it. I'm not done though, because this form also gives me a place to write down any vocabulary words that I come across or terms I think that might be on a test later. For example, I'm pretty sure perjury in a criminology class, a book that uses this kind of a textbook, perjury might show up on a test, and so might bribery, and so might obstruction of justice, and frankly, so might official misconduct. Now, if there were other words just in the parts I pre-read, that I didn't understand, I could put those down there and start to expand my vocabulary so that I can truly participate. That leads us to during reading. Once we have thought through those 4 P's, we can go to the during reading section. And here are 2 things to do during reading, and they both start with R. I know you'll be surprised to hear that the first one is actually read. The first R is to actually read, and the second R is to reflect, and that means to really think about it. So it's not just reciting it over and over again or memorizing things or reviewing it and looking at it again. It's actually thinking about it. So how do we do that? Well, we do that in a number of ways. First of all, when we read, we have to be involved, we have to be interested, we have to be alert and attentive. Reading is not just having our eyes follow across the page and then realize that once we get to the end of the page and we go to turn it, we don't remember anything. That's really not reading. That's just our eyes following the words. And if we were doing it out loud, in my field, we call that word calling. We don't call that reading. So if you're not attentive and involved and interested in actually thinking or reflecting, you're not really reading. Active reading requires reflection. It requires thinking. So how do you do this? Well, you just asked a bunch of questions during the pre-read part, and now you look for your answers. That is a way to keep involved. You ask yourself, do you understand it? Could you repeat it to a younger cousin or a younger brother or sister or a child? Could you repeat it to somebody else? Can you explain it in your own words? You ask more questions. Maybe one question was answered and it brought up another question. When you do these, you reflect, you stay interested. And with textbooks, there's an even better way to do it, and it kind of comes under the acronym HIT. This comes from Deborah Kellner out of Ohio. She has come up with this way to remember how to hit the textbooks, and the HIT all stands for something. The headings, that's where we're asking questions of the headings. Ideas, where we're writing down the main ideas from the author. And terms, where we're writing down any vocabulary that might keep us from understanding that text. And you can see on the ART that I had you copy onto your own Google Drive. It's got headings, ideas, and terms available for you to write down. That's the during reading stage. Very quickly, I'm going to talk about the after reading stage. It starts with O, and O stands for organizing what you read. We will talk about this more heavily in the other modules coming up, so I'm only going to just briefly tell you that it's about outlines and summaries and mapping, drawing visual representations as a way of organizing. And again, we'll talk more about that in depth in the next module. But for now, I want you to actually practice the R portion. You've done the read portion, you've done the pre-reading, and now I want you to take those same 4 paragraphs on page 28 in your book. It's chapter 6, and I want you to complete the ART. Now, I usually do this activity in class, and since you are a hybrid class and you're doing this online, perhaps you're an online class and you're doing this, you can't come up front to me. So your job, if you're taking a hybrid class, will be to do this on your own and bring it with you as your ticket to enter our next class. And that will make you ready for the next part of what we'll do face-to-face. Or if it's an online class, you'll have some instruction to read on Canvas about what to do next. So take your ART that you just finished with the pre-read and add to it. And you'll have a place to download, or to upload your completed ART in the next question. I'll see you in class, either on Canvas or in face-to-face.